this video, I'm going to show you a few examples of doing these transformations in MathLab because it will look a little different than how we're used to graphing in MathLab. For instance, on this problem where you have y equals x plus 4 squared. Now remember from the last video, this one is going to start off with the graph of x squared. That's going to be its basic graph, which means it's going to have that U shape. The plus 4 that you see is inside, so it's an inside number, which means it's going to shift the parabola horizontally, but opposite of that sign. So remember, a plus 4 is actually going to shift you to the left 4 units. So we would choose that B option. Now, when we type in the answer here, we're going to have x, and then in your exponent, squared, because that's going to be the shape of the graph, the one that gives it its shape. So it starts with the graph of x squared, and it's going to shift it 4 units to the left. Now, once you do this, it's going to actually have you graph the function. So I'm going to click to enlarge graph. Now, what you're going to do in these transformations is choose the tool. So it's an x squared. So remember what shape that is. That's this U-shaped parabola. Now, it just says to click the graph to plot your curve. We're not plotting points. We're just actually going to click anywhere. And what it's going to do is give you that shape that you told it, which is the squared shape. And then you'll notice down on the bottom right that it gives you a shifting box. We're not going to do any of the vertical and horizontal stretch or shrinks, so we don't need to worry about that top row. We're doing vertical shifts and horizontal shifts. So what we told this is that we was going to shift it to the left 4. Oh, oops. Hang on. Sorry. So we want to shift it, horizontal shift to the left 4. So you're just going to drag the box that is in the horizontal shift to the left 4. And you'll notice that when you did that, the parabola, the U shape that was on the graph, shifted to the left 4. Okay, let's do a couple of more. All right, this one is actually, we're not going to have to actually graph this one. It's going to be multiple choice. And again, it's that reciprocal, because the graph of the reciprocal, and it's in, the x is in the denominator. So that plus 6 is not inside anything, which automatically makes it an outside number. And outside numbers shift you vertically up and down. So it's going to shift this up 6. And then give me the different options. Okay, so you'll notice the graph of B is what the reciprocal graph looks like without being shifted at all. So the center of that on A has been shifted down, and the center of it on C has been shifted up. So that's why you would choose that C option. Now, something new on this one. So first of all, it's going to be a cube graph. So the x cubed is what's going to give it its shape. It does have a plus 3 on the inside. So since it's on the inside, That is a horizontal, which means left or right, but you're going to go opposite that sign. So I'm actually going to go to the left 3 units. Now, that negative that's out in front of the parentheses is actually going to flip the graph upside down, and the way that you say that mathematically is you reflect it across the x-axis. So we're going to shift left 3 and then reflect across the x-axis, which is that A option. And again, what was the shape going to be coming from? It's coming from x, and then go into your exponent to the 3rd power. So x cubed is what gives it its shape. And now we'll graph that, and it's going to use that shifting box again. So again, choose the x cubed graph from the 7.1 notes, which looks like that, and we're going to click anywhere on the graph. So there's the x cubed shape without any shifts at all. And remember where we're going to shift it. We're going to shift it to the left 3. So I'm going to grab my horizontal shift box and then drag it to the left 3. Now, remember, it's also going to reflect across or over the x-axis. So you'll notice at the bottom of the shifting box, there is a box that you can check. And watch when I uncheck it and then check it again. So there's not flipped, and as soon as I hit that, it just reflects it across the x-axis. Okay. Another one. Start with the graph of f of x. What's going to be the basic graph of this function? It's going to be that x squared. Now, the horizontal shift, the inside shift comes next. So that plus 3 is, since I go opposite that sign, it's going to go to the left 3 units. And then the minus 1 is an outside number, which means it shifts it up or down with that sign. So a minus 1 will shift you down 1 unit. Now we'll graph it. So x squared shape will give me the parabola or the U shape. Click anywhere on the graph to put it right in the middle, and then do your shifting. So horizontal shift first, so I'm going to shift it to the left 3. And then this one also has a vertical shift that's going to shift it down 1. So I'm going to drag the box in my vertical shift down 1. And you'll notice that the center of that parabola, that vertex, did go to the left 3 and then down 1. So that is how we're going to graph in